So, this is a little look, a peek into the future. We've just set up sort of some of these rectangles here and this patio around the house. The next forms we're going to create are the ones out in the garden. So we have this kind of swoopy form, which will be a path leading up to a circular patio. There'll be a planting bed that kind of fills this space, another planting bed, I believe, maybe that's lawn, that fills this space, and then another either planting bed or lawn that fills in the remainder of the site. So we could use our polyline tool and use the options of either doing the straight segments or the curved segments and try to kind of draw all these pieces and make sure they overlap perfectly and align and all of that nicely. But what we're going to do tonight is we will be drawing some of these just with the polyline tool and the circle tool, but others we're going to draw using options of either subtracting objects from other objects or drawing two separate objects and then merging them together to make one object. So this will be super helpful in the future, you know, as you do other layout and other design on other projects. So these are nice, again, good techniques to have as you go forward. So the first piece we're going to do, and so as we go through this, don't try to figure out the rhyme or reason. The book has its own little way of doing this. So we'll kind of step through all of these together, and then at the end we'll look back and be like, oh, there it is. It worked. Let me get back to my file. So we're all here. We're going to continue to be in the same class that we're already in, that we've drawn our other forms in. But we're going to now start by going to the polyline tool. And the first object we're going to do is kind of this swooping piece that comes off of this point. This will be our starting point, down here at the top left corner of this square. So you kind of zoom in a little bit. Okay, in the polyline tool, we're going to use one of the arc options up in the toolbar along the top. We're going to use the one that I believe is the second one over. Let me see. Which one's? Oh, the third one over. It should be called the tangent arc mode. So if you kind of hover over, I guess it's actually the fourth button, it should tell you with the little pop-up window that is the tangent arc mode. So go ahead and select that option. So real quick, Holly, we're in the polyline tool, and we've selected the fourth button along the top for our option, the tangent arc mode. And so we're going to go step by step, so just follow along with me and I'll lead you through all of this. The first point we want to click on again is the top left corner of this rectangle, or this square that we've already drawn. So I'm going to snap to that corner, make my first click. And then the book says that I want to come out to a either a 130-degree angle. So if your snapping is turned on, this button, you can kind of move your mouse around until you feel it snap to it'll either say 45 degrees in one coordinate window, or in the input window it's 135 degrees. So try to get to a snap on that angle. Does everyone have that? Mm-hmm. Very good. Hold on, let me make sure I'm in the book. Okay, so when you have that angle, go ahead and make your first click.
How far out should we be?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, the distance doesn't matter, just as long as you are snapping to that 135 angle.
I wondered.
And then what we're going to do, so we're now going to snap to the other corner of that square, but we are not going to click. So simply hover over that corner. Is everyone there? Now, that should allow us to align to that corner when we move up. So start moving vertically up, and you should have the green dashed line. At this point, we're going to set the radius of that arc. So you see here the first option in the input coordinate window is radius.
Did you hover?
I'm sorry, but mine isn't open.
Okay, the snaps back on.
Go over to this thing and hover. Yeah.
Go
Did you
here,
hover?
here.
Go over here and hover.
To that little corner over there. There you go. And then move up. There you go. Okay.
It's doing
Yep. So you see that green line? That green line is telling you you're aligned to that.
it? Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Oh.
So when you see, continue to
Oh,
see
I went too far over.
the green line, we're going to type in a radius. And that distance is 29 feet, 6 inches. So
On L?
29 feet, 6. And you should see the radius window be populated with that number, 29 feet, 6 inches. Hit return once. Okay, so what we have now is we've defined the radius. So as you move your mouse around, Vectorworks is locking you into that radius for the arc. Move your mouse up until you are not only sort of in line with that corner we're aligning with, but also that full arc distance comes and meets the alignment green line. So we're going to eyeball this. It's not going to snap per se, but we're going to kind of get in the right neighborhood for our next click.
Nice.
It kind of
Oh, I see the line.
Okay? So graphically, once you're there, make the next click.
Mine isn't.
My
Yeah,
green line is
oh,
there,
there's no
but
line.
So mine isn't doing
What,
it.
what
Why
are
did
you
you have to go this way?
Oh.
How did it work?
No. Here. Oh, so we can do this. We needed to, you missed a step, I think. We needed to define the
Yeah.
angle at 135.
Oh, click there.
And then
Right.
from here, we're hovering. Oops.
Yep, yep.
Let me try that one more time.
Wow.
What was it again? 20,
29.
26 or 29?
oh, on the top.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what to type in real quick.
I'm sorry.
29.6, so 29 feet, 6 inches.
No worries. I was just lucky. They had it.
Cool.
Wow.
Now we're on to the next.
Okay, I want to try that at home.
Okay, so essentially we just wanted to get in the right area. We wanted to define this radius as a particular dimension so they can actually lay it out in the field and we can put it on a drawing. Now, this next line, you'll see because we're in the arc tangent mode, wherever we kind of move our mouse, Vectorworks will create a nice tangent arc off of the previous arc. So it'll be a nice smooth arc. And what we're going to do, let me just confirm this, is set the radius there. Let me see here. Right, so kind of move down about to where I am on the screen here. And you'll see again the resulting arc if we were to click, but we're not going to click. And again, we have the opportunity here to input a radius for this next arc, which we're going to do now. And that radius should be 9 feet, 10 inches. So go ahead and type in 9 feet, 10.
Are we at 45 or 30?
Doesn't matter.
And 9 feet 10?
Correct.
Now return.
And now hit return. And so what it's doing is giving you the tangent radius, the tangent arc, pardon me, at the radius we've defined. And now this isn't going to be we're trying to get in the ballpark here, in the neighborhood. We're just going to simply move our mouse down, and so that our resulting circle kind of looks like that. And we're going to double click to close out that line.
Is that on the green line by any chance or not?
So no, we're not concerned about aligning with
Okay.
anything at that point.
So what if it is? Or it
It's
isn't?
fine.
Doesn't matter,
Yeah.
okay?
Double click return.
Yep.
Okay.
Double click and that should close out the polyline. So our result is two simple arcs. They're tangent to one another, so they're nice and clean. We define the radius for this, so it's constructible. We've defined the radius for this, so it too is constructible. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use the offset tool to create a sort of linear path of a consistent width based off of this one line. So let's step through that. So let's make sure that that polyline is selected. So if it's not selected, jump into the selection tool and click it, and you should have polyline up in the object info palette, so you know that you have the polyline selected. Then we're going to go to the offset tool over in the basic tool palette. And in the past, we've just kind of set a distance and use that distance as the offset distance for our object. We're going to go a little bit more specific this time. We're going to jump into the Preferences button. So go ahead and click the button. You'll see we have a few more options here. So per the book, we're going to set the method to offset by distance still. For the distance on this, it should be 5 feet. And then we're going to go down and we're going to have it duplicate the offset. So that just means it's going to make a copy of that line. It's not going to simply shift the line. We'll end up with 2 lines. Then we're going to go down to make sure that under wall offset it says offset from center line. That doesn't really apply to us, but it could mess up if we don't have it there. And then finally, we want to select close open curves. So what that means is we're not simply going to have 2 separate lines after we do the offset. We're going to have a closed polyline that closes out that entire form. So let's go ahead and click OK.
Oh.
And when you click OK, you're back in the drawing. We have to make one more click for this to happen. Make sure it is on the inside of this form we just drew. If we did it on the outside, it would offset to the outside of that form. We want to do it to the inside. So go ahead and click, and you should have that form. A candy cane. Right. Cool? So again, it's simple. Think of this as, if you were drawing sidewalks or paths through a garden, and you just wanted to draw one line and then offset and actually create the full form off of that one line. This is a nice quick way of doing that. And you can set the distance, which is nice if you want it to be uniform. Okay? At this point, go back to your selection tool, so you can just hit the X key on your keyboard. And let's click on this white fill. So this white fill that is outside of the form. So anywhere in here.
So where should be on my selection tool? 'Cause
Correct.
I got the black, I got the blue dots. But you don't.
So that's a good point. Thank you, Holly. It doesn't really matter, but right now, if you're in, again, the selection tool has 2 ways that we've been using it. The first button, if you click on an object, you can delete it or move it. If you're on the second option, that means you'll get those blue grips and you may be able to change the form or the scale of it. For this purpose, it doesn't matter which one you're in. Just go ahead and click it and then delete it.
And delete it.
Yep.
Delete.
Wait.
Correct.
No, that is not a good idea.
Click.
So again, you wanted to click in the white area outside of the form we had created.
Oh. No.
Control Z.
No, don't do
Not sure, not sure. So
So
I want it.
you want that one? Like that?
But then I still have that. Why didn't it take away the yellow, the orange line that was highlighted?
The orange.
When,
Well, that was just a highlight, so it deleted that
Line.
first line we drew, but it left the form that we created of the offset.
me, thanks.
Mine doesn't. Look at it, still making.
It doesn't like it for some reason this evening. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties over here again.
Oh, I have technical
Yeah.
difficulties too. So
I'm just
Yeah,
wondering
just getting
a
a
looking
little
forward
bit.
to that, yeah.
Oh, man.
Cool. Go to another one. That's the way around.
But it does demonstrate how different.
What a chance that it's.
And you can't like it.
Yeah,
Because it's super bad.
I don't know that it's doing anything. Like it just like
It's just what got rid of everything.
it's somehow.
Great. Fine, Robin. Here's a copy somewhere from the start.
Let me see here. All right, bear with me for 2 minutes. Sorry about this.
You should just go back to Spain.
I'd love to go
No.
back to Spain. Could just click my heels.
Yeah, click your heels. We're not in Kansas anymore. Sometimes you can work out, you can come back and start.
And it'll start again?
That's what I do.
I must have been thinking evil thoughts.
It's like, oh, today
Where's
is
that
not
copy?
good.
I don't know why. I don't know why.
It works.
It's very great
I
stuff.
think he's gonna just copy it. Do you need my stick to put it on and bring it over here?
I'll just stick it on the one here.
He's gonna laugh at that.
It's cute.
What's
So
that?
it does, it's kind of an interesting design.
It almost killed me.
What this?
Chocolate stuff.
Oh my God. Sorry.
I have no idea what it is. I thought I was following
You have to get in front of the camera.
When it dies on
it.
television.
I know, it's like amazing.
It'll go viral.
Well, if I take it, I got a new printer. Oh, yeah?
So then you had this was a picture of